Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com, and this is tutorial number 13 in our series of beginners Java tutorials. And this tutorial is on classes in Java, and it's also going to be a little bit about object-oriented programming in general. So I've got a project in Eclipse as usual, and I'm going to show you the first step again, which by now I usually don't show you in the tutorials, but I'm going to just go to File, New, Class, and I give my class a name, and I give it a main method by ticking this box, and I click Finish. And the reason I wanted to show you that was just to remind you that you're already creating classes in Java, because unless you're using some really strange editor that some kind of university course has saddled you with, then you will already be creating classes to run your Java programs. So you know how to create a class in Eclipse. You go to New, you can right click on Project as well and go to New Class and just give it a name, which the first letter should be uppercase. And if you have more than one words making up the class name, you know, like, I don't know, red fruit, you'd capitalize the first letter of each word in the name just to make it easy to read, like that. So this would be a class. And of course, you only need a main method for just one class in your program, and this is where your program runs from. So this is what a class normally looks like. And it's really important to notice that if you have a class that's declared public, then this class name must match the name of your file, like redfruit. The redfruit class must be in redfruit.java. But anyway, you're probably wondering what is public and what is a class. Well, what I'm going to do to kind of make things a bit simpler is, you don't normally do this, but although you can only have one public class in your file, you can have as many non-public classes as you like. So I'm going to just create a class here in my main kind of class file, just to show you, so then you can see everything on one page. So to create a class, you type class, and Java keywords are always lowercase, and you give it a name, as I said, and I'll call this person. So the idea behind a class is a template for creating objects, or a class is a blueprint, if you like, for creating objects. And what objects are is, well, in the real world, everything is an object, arguably, like you're an object, your cat is an object, your computer is an object, and so on. And it's the same in a Java program. Everything is an object, and you need some way of specifying what the different objects in your program are like, and that's what a class does. It's just, so like, for example, a person class could be used to create person objects that would represent particular people, but this isn't a particular person, it's just going to represent the idea of a person in general. So another way of looking at it is that a class is also a bit like a type, like we've seen int and double and string, and you can create your own types to order. So this is a person type. And what I'm going to do is, well, a class and for that matter objects have two kinds of things in them. So classes can contain, the first thing is data, which represents the state of your objects. And what I mean by that is, if you think about yourself as an object, you have a state, you have a name, probably an address, you have an age, a location, you have a mood, you have a certain heart rate. All of these things they make up what we call your state. They are how you are at the moment. And to represent that in Java, we put data into our class in the form of what we call instance variables, which I'm going to show you in this tutorial. But and in the next tutorial, we'll also look at subroutines, which can be part of classes. So like here is a subroutine. the main method, and in here you can type just commands that are executed one after the other. So your Java program starts wherever you declare main, and it just works through your commands in main one after the other, as you already know. And so this is actually an example of a subroutine called main, which is part of this class app. And a subroutine that's part of a class we call a method in Java, to use the lingo. So this is the main method. I'm going to show you how that works in the next tutorial, but in this tutorial we're just going to look at the data part of classes. So I'm just going to finish typing here. So the second thing you can have in a class is a subroutine which you call methods. Okay, so let's have some data in this person class. So I'll have some data, and we call the data in a class instance variables, data or state. And the reason for that is to represent data that you want to attach to an object. It's really simple. You just type variables here, like I could have string name, so that people that I create from this person class can have names. And for example, they could have an age. And in my main program now, I can use this person class to create particular person objects or particular people, if you like. So I could say person, I'll give it a name, person1. I'll say, when I say give it a name, I mean give the variable that refers to the person a name. I don't mean this. So person1 equals, and I have to say new person. So what's happening here is, I'm declaring a variable of type person. In other words, it's a variable that can refer to a person object. And here I'm creating a particular person. I'm creating a person object, an object of type person. And now I can refer to the name and age of this person. I can say person1.name equals, let's say, Joe Blogs, and person1.age equals 37. And I could have another person. I could say person2, have as many as you like, of course, equals new person. And when you create the person object using new, don't forget you need these two round brackets here. So to break this down once more, here's the type of the variable that I'm going to create. Here's a name for my variable. Then I'm going to set the variable equal, I'm going to set it equal using this equal sign to a new person object, which I'm creating here. And to do that, you just have the keyword new, the name of your class, and then two round brackets here, which are very important, so don't forget them. And I can give person2, I can assign a value to its name as well, like let's say Sarah Smith, and person1.age equals 20. person2.age equals 20. So you can see that I'm accessing these variables up here just by using a dot after the variable name, the name of the variable that refers to the person. So it's the variable name, which I chose here, then a dot, and there's no spaces, and then just the name of the variable that I want to refer to. This actually isn't best practice in Java, but what I'd strongly recommend is, because by now if you haven't seen this before, probably your brain is bubbling out of your ears, I'd recommend just typing this stuff out for yourself. Just create a few classes. You can just create them one after the other here above your main class and give them some data, and then just create a few objects from your classes here like this and play about with the data. And of course you can access the data using the dot notation in exactly the same way, person1.name for example. And all this is actually very simple, and if it looks complicated, believe me, then after practicing a little bit it will seem dead simple. So that's all for this tutorial. and a lot of information to absorb, but really it boils down to some quite simple code, as you can see. And in the next tutorial, we're going to look at probably subroutines that you can have in classes. And in other words, we're going to look at what we call methods, of which this main method here is an example. So yeah, I strongly recommend just typing this out, because if you don't practice, what will happen is when you get onto methods, you'll start confusing methods with variables, which I've seen many people do, and then you won't know A from B. But if you can just practice this a little bit, the next bit will be a lot clearer, I promise. Okay, so have fun with that, and you can find this code on caveofprogramming.com, and please watch the next tutorial too if this is useful. And until then, happy coding.